Kia ora, good evening. Statistics New Zealand figures show strong growth in manufacturing, with the gross domestic product, or GDP, rising 0.9% in the December 2013 quarter.
Manufacturing activity grew 2.1%, driven by increases in food, beverage and tobacco, machinery and equipment manufacturing. Manufacturing activity has reached its highest level since March 2006. Dairy farming and dairy product manufacturing both fell in the December quarter after strong increases last quarter, following a production rebound from the drought earlier in 2013. Statistics New Zealand National Accounts Manager Michelle Lloyd says that while dairy activity fell this quarter, exports were up strongly as production from last quarter was sold off overseas. The volume of spending by New Zealand households in the December 2013 year grew 3.4%, driven by a 7.4% increase in spending on durable goods. This is the largest annual increase in spending on such goods since June 2005.
New Zealand's first comprehensive study into whether shorn lambs grow faster than woolly lambs is underway. Some farmers believe shearing lambs destined for slaughter increases growth rates, but until now there's been limited research into the area. Meat Processor Alliance Group and its research partner Abacus Bio are testing the theory with 4 mobs of lambs of the same breed receiving a different treatment. 1 shorn, 1 belly crutched, 1 sheltered and non-shorn, and another left unshorn on pasture. Weights are monitored every 3 weeks until lambs are processed. Temperature and rainfall are also being recorded, along with a cost-benefit analysis of shearing lambs. Children at Southland Hospital had some special visitors today, which is World Oral Health Day. Dr. Rabbit was handing out toothpaste and toothbrushes to patients with assistance from several Southern Steel and Southland Sharks players before heading to New River Primary School to share the toothbrushing message. The state of the region's oral health is improving, according to Dr. Tim Mackay, who says people are keeping their own teeth longer. He says 5-year-olds have an average of about 1.8 fillings, which is trending down, but those living in non-fluoridated areas tend to have bigger holes and more of them.
Instead of doing maybe a little filling, you're reconstructing half a tooth, putting a crown on or something like that. So that's really the impact of fluoride on kids' teeth.
As far as diet goes, is the diet different for people living in those areas too?
Well, no, diet's the same, but there's a lot of sugar being consumed and it's all in the form of drinks. You know, in the past you would have asked a kid, what sort of lollies are you eating? Whereas now you're going, what you drinking?
Educating parents is part of that, and also the children about what they are eating or drinking. Part of what you're doing here is allowing the parents to come along to the appointment with all of their children at once.
Yeah, so that's a huge change for our staff and for parents. I went by myself and I sat in the chair and endured it, whereas actually we want parents to be involved in their child's care. So we can have the conversation with what's the point in having a conversation with a 5-year-old around diet and brushing when the parent's not there? So we're trying to go for a patient-focused booking system, so contacting parents, offering them appointments at times that suit. We're backing that up with text messages now. We're almost like a hairdresser. We're getting very switched on to remind people they've got appointments. And our new information system allows us to identify families. So when you make an appointment, you get all 4 people rocking up, even if they're at different sites, because they can all come to one hub and be seen. I liken a lot of dentistry to a warrant. You know, it has to happen, and you really don't want 2 tyres, but you go and you actually need 4 tyres, and it can be quite expensive when you didn't really want it to be. So the whole thing's prevention. If you get a good relationship going, go frequently and get checkups and prevention, you're not going to have those big costly expenses down the track. People are keeping their teeth for life, so the whole focus on kids is great, but we've now got older people who have got their teeth when they get into their 70s and 80s. So it's a whole continuum. So everybody needs to be looking after their teeth and making sure their smiles look great and brushing their teeth twice a day.
Use of electricity in home heating has steadily grown over the past 7 years, making it more popular than gas, wood or coal.
Electricity was the most common heating fuel in 2013, used by 79.2% of occupied private dwellings, according to census results courtesy of Statistics New Zealand. And while electrical heating is trending up, home ownership is trending down, with 49.8% of people aged over 15 owning or partly owning the home they lived in 2013. This compares to 53.2% in 2006. Home ownership declined across all age groups, with the largest falls for those in their 30s and 40s.
The winner of the inaugural Britain's Got Talent series, Paul Potts, is heading south as part of an 8-city concert tour of New Zealand in April. Fans of the 43-year-old Brit will be treated to his personal insights and gore with his biopic movie One Chance, screening on the 27th of April at the St James Theatre to coincide with the southern leg of his tour. The movie follows the operatic phenomena's rise to fame, from a shy, bullied shop assistant by day and amateur operatic singer by night, to ultimately being chosen for and winning Britain's Got Talent. Potts fans will have the chance to meet the man himself as he visits the theatre on his way to Dunedin following his Invercargill performance. Stay with us. Still to come, after 10 years in the role as Chief Executive of the Southland District, Dave Adamson reflects on his career in local government in the South. Welcome back. Southland District Council Chief Executive Dave Adamson has accepted the position of Director of Facilities and Infrastructure Rebuild with the Christchurch City Council. Mr Adamson has moved within local government his entire career, firstly in various roles in the North Island before moving to Southland 19 years ago to first become the District Engineer before being appointed to the Chief Executive role in 2004. Today, Mr Adamson reflected on his time in Southland and the challenges he faces in his new role.
When I came down here, basically I'd specialised in public health engineering. I suppose in my technical career I was designing sewage treatment plants as sort of my background, and stormwater systems, water, landfills, so that whole range of public health engineering was my speciality. So someone said if I was ever going to make a career in local government, I needed a bit of roading experience, and so I came to that time. I thought I was very lucky to get the job, actually, so they did take a bit of a risk. And I came to the largest road controlling authority in New Zealand, so and thoroughly enjoyed all the time I've been down here.
Well, certainly they've obviously thought that you've pulled the job off, because now you're Chief Executive. Tell us a little bit about your time as Chief Executive, highlights and some of the challenges.
Yeah, I must admit I really thank Council for having the confidence, I suppose, in appointing me as Chief Executive. Sometimes internal appointments are a little bit tricky, but again, gave me the opportunity to learn a lot about the wide range, the wide gambit of services that we provide, from regulatory right through to libraries and arts and culture, as well as obviously infrastructure. And infrastructure is where we spend the bulk of the money, but those other things to the community are equally important. So being the Chief Executive, we had a very good council. If you could put up a good solid proposal, Council, we're willing to actually give things a go, and we've done some pretty exciting things, I think. But again, really I've been very lucky. A great team between councillors and staff, great team of staff, great team of councillors, and when the two row in the same direction, you can do some great things.
Southland District Council does lead the way in a lot of stats with local government in New Zealand for affordability, even things like dog registrations and things like that. What do you think the secret is? And there is a lot of harmony, isn't there, within the council? You very rarely see public discourse going on as you do perhaps within the City Council. What do you think the secret is within the district?
Well, I think the council gets the opportunity to discuss things. Basically, I have a council that absolutely reads everything we give them, and I feel sorry sometimes for them because they get wads and wads of paper. Now they're getting it all electronically, but they still have to read it, and they come very well prepared. So they've read it, they've done it. Our staff and councillors interact very well, so if they have a query, they'll go down and do their homework prior to council meetings. So they'll go down and say, well, where does this figure come from, or what's the background to this kind of philosophy? So there's quite a good alignment, but also I think there's a very good free flow of information between them. But again, I think we've had traditionally council very much pay as you go rather than not wanting to leave a major debt for future generations, and so we have got a very strong balance sheet, and a very strong balance sheet gives you the opportunity to do things while still keeping rates affordable.
Let's talk about your new role with up in Christchurch. Explain what the expectations will be.
Well, it's going to be the Director of Council Infrastructure and Facilities Rebuild, and they've just done a restructure up there, so they have put a big chunk of the organisation looking after the rebuild, and then the other half of the organisation is looking after the operations as usual. So it'll be very much around, first of all, I imagine the commitment will be around infrastructure, water, sewage, stormwater, and you've just recently seen the floods that they've gone through. There are still a number of properties that have got some big issues involved with them. So infrastructure rebuild, and then on top of that there's facilities, and facilities go from stadiums to swimming pools to looking at Cathedral Square, having a look at new conference centre. They're talking about a big arts precinct. So yeah, quite a gambit and a very wide range of reasonably big projects, and people are starting to sort of get a little bit impatient, so hopefully we can help put the things in place to try and deliver the right outcomes, and I think it's really important to get it right, because once infrastructure goes in, it can be in there for 100 years. Once you build some of these facilities, they again can serve they'll serve the community for decades, so it is important that it's right. But it's also important that it's done in a timely manner as well.
There is that enormous pressure coming on from the public in Christchurch. You obviously do appreciate that you're not going in blind, but it is a bit like a local government war zone there, isn't it? We can expect that this is going to go on for 10, maybe even 20 years, this rebuild in particular. A few councils and, need I say, officials also will probably have their careers spent in Christchurch. Is that in the back of your mind at all, the challenge that way?
I think it's going to be a huge challenge, and I think that different challenges to obviously what we've got down here, and I thought it was, a unique opportunity. Hopefully some of the skills that I've got can help in some way of trying to work through the minefield, and it is a minefield of legislation, of partnership between central government, local government and the private sector to make it happen. And again, hopefully we can align everyone, and while there's a lot of criticism about things, I do think people are trying to do the best that they can, and hopefully we can just use a little bit of that experience that I've got to just try and help align those, get things running smoothly, getting some the right outcomes at the right time, I suppose.
Weather's along next. Then tonight on Sport, we catch up with new Stags assistant coach Clark Dermody from the news team. Good night.